Hello everyone, DonTheCrown here. Today we're going to be doing a little Monster Hunter Wilds video. It's been about 19 hours, 18 minutes, and 32 seconds of gameplay, and we have gotten through the low ranks all the way up into the high rank content now. We are level 27 high rank out of 100. I've had a lot of people come by the stream and ask for some tips and tricks for dual blades. And that's like what I recommend both in terms of gear and just kind of like how you should be playing. And I am by no means an expert at Monster Hunter. However, I think I did pick some really good stuff here for armors as we're leveling. And so I just want to show you real quick what I would recommend with like as limited amount of spoilers as possible. So starting off right out the gate, what you're going to be looking for pretty much like right away is you want to get yourself the bone helmet and the bone mail and then the bone pants. And the reason we want to use all of these is because each of these has Marathon Runner. Marathon Runner is really ridiculous because when you have 3 ranks of this across your different gear pieces, you're going to get 50% reduced stamina drain, basically of continuous stamina drain. And dual blades is basically a weapon that constantly drains its own stamina. And so this practically gives you double stamina if you're just like raw attacking in your demon mode. And this is just going to be extremely noticeable for being able to pump out tons of damage. And so this is something you definitely want at least at level 2. Level 3 is really, really good. And so I just went and I crafted these 3 bone things. In order to craft these, you are going to have to like kind of dig through some bone piles. Typically they're like around where you fight monsters and stuff, or like in kind of like cave corner type of things. And you can see them like also on the map as well. And then for weapons, you are going to go for the weapons that give you fire element and water element. These 2 weapons basically are going to carry you through the game kind of significantly long. And it's just really, really good. There are, especially because you can carry both of them at a time. If like an enemy is a fire-based enemy, you just switch to the water weapons. And if it's a water-based enemy, you switch back to the fire weapons. It's pretty easy. I wore pretty much the Kumatrice, little dual blades here for a long stinking time until we got pretty far into the story here. Now, without spoiling stuff too much, this is kind of like what my character looked like pretty much when we were about to finish beating the campaign. We basically have these twin Alibrath swords, which are absolutely just bonkers broken. And they have critical element, which basically gives you increased elemental damage whenever you crit. And this is pretty nice, and also prevents your weapons from losing sharpness during critical hits. And so this is just very, very good for keeping your weapons sharp and giving you extra damage. And then I didn't use basically any other weapon besides this one once I got it. For our helmet, we have the Udra Meyer helm, which gives us resentment. This gives us basically flat attack damage whenever we have red recovery health. And then we have the G Dasha Guma braces and coil and greaves. And these give us Marathon Runner and some extra stuff in here. And I believe that I was using like the chain blade charm here for flare, although this might not be available. It kind of depends on some things, but there's like pretty much a whole bunch of different talismans you could use. You could also just use the defense boost, which I think is just fine. Lastly, I ended up replacing the helmet here and with this one here from Arky and the chest as well. And so this is pretty much what we looked like when we beat the final boss of the campaign. And it was just very, very strong. And the reason why you want to do multiple G armor sets is because they have this thing here where it increases your recovery speed of stamina and red gauge whenever you're near crystals. And in a lot of the endgame fights, there are these crystals down. And so this pretty much gives you a massive amount of stamina recovery. And pretty much anytime you take damage, by the time you take damage again, you've recuperated just like naturally a lot of the damage you would take, which is just rather nice. And then now, once we got into master rank, pretty much what I did is I leveled up until I can make these Kut-Ku pair weapons. And these are very, very strong. We also made the hat and the boots for these as well, because it gives us constitution, which is Just makes it so it's easier for us to dodge around. It reduces fixed stamina depletion. So things like evading gets reduction there. And then we went back to the old bone armor set here. So we were back on Marathon Runner, which is kind of nice. And then the weapon here just does a lot of damage. Kind of compare it. It does double the elemental damage of the twin Albaraths, and has higher flat on there as well. And we're definitely using the Chainblade Charm now, and we have the Rocksteady Mantle. Now, to kind of give you an idea of kind of what you should be doing with dual blades in terms of kind of damage rotation, basically, if you don't know already, if you look up there in the left-hand corner, you have our health bar, you have our stamina bar, we have our sharpness gauge, which tells us like kind of what our multiplier is for damage. You want to try to keep that like, you know, kind of in the first section of whatever your color is. Probably gonna be green for the most part. And you can fix that by pressing like left button up. Oop, that's I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. Okay, you press whetstone. And so the whetstone, each scrape will sharpen it a little bit there, and that will basically give you a like a little bit of increase there. And so if worst case scenario, you have to sharpen one time and dodge, and then sharpen again one time and dodge. Unlike in World, you will get sharpened up. Now below that meter is our demon gauge meter. So normally, if we're just attacking normally, we are just going to be doing normal attacks. Nothing super special here. But if we press the right trigger, we go into demon mode, and now we build up the meter. And all of our basic attack combos have a third hit that generates a lot more meter. Also, being in demon mode allows us to do this nice little dodge. It eats a ton of stamina. You can kind of see my stamina is getting eaten a lot just from being in demon mode. Just shifting out will give us, you know, a ton of stamina regen, but then our meter will start going down. And so what you want to do is basically get your meter up to full by using combos and stuff. And once it's full, when you're back in normal mode, you'll be glowy, and this makes you arc demon mode, which gives you a little bit of the demon skills, including the dodge, including the good combo, or better combos at least, and just does more damage. But the real trick is you want to get your meter up, and then we press Y and B together. We do this Giga attack, and this is only usable, you know, once you have demon meter, because it consumes the meter. But the real crazy combo is that you can switch between being in Archdemon mode and doing a combo. And then if you switch to demon mode while you're doing the combo, it will continuously just blast through tons of meter here. And you will just, like, all you have to do is just keep spamming right trigger, and it will just do a lot of damage. So to give you an idea here, let's build up meter real quick. So if I just did the demon mode combo, the damage for that is about 629 damage, which is pretty good. Now, if I do it with the kind of the demon and archdemon mode, you'll see the damage difference. So now I'm spamming right trigger. It's shifting back and forth. This is also letting me get a lot more stamina. It's 846. So that's like almost like what, 30-40% more damage, which is pretty nice. It does take longer, but that's pretty much just what I'm trying to do all the time. And then the real fancy part is that wounds are pretty much insane right now in this game. I actually think that they might change them a little bit, because wounds, basically, if you hold down the focus button, are these little like weak spots, and you will do additional damage to them. And you can tell when you're hitting a wound, because you'll see the little marks that appear around it, kind of like an X, and that lets you know you're hitting a wound. And so what you can do is you can hold left trigger, hit top right button here, and you do a little focus slash on it, and you will burn down the boss. Now, while you're doing that, your stamina is recovering, and you're building up demon meter. So ideal, perfect world, you are, you know, building up your meter in demon mode, and then you are able to basically just spam your demon flurry blade dance combo here, and you get a wound somewhere, and then you bonk into it, and that builds up your meter, builds your stamina back up, and then you just do it again. Now, at first, I've definitely noticed that like enemies won't get wounds right off the bat. Maybe kind of do 1 or 2 combos of this, but once you do that first, like, you know, spin through the boss, lots of times that will cause another wound to happen. And so you can just go and burn down your demon meter a little bit and then do another focus attack on it and just down the boss again. And it's just absolutely crazy. This will stagger bosses sometimes, will knock them down. It'll give you tons of materials. Like every single time you hit a focus strike, you get materials from the enemy. So it's really, really good to do this. And it's just really quite insane. Also, another thing you can do is if you see a ledge, you can just run towards it and press Y. And if you do that 2 times, you will end up mounting the enemy. I don't think you end up mounting the training dummy here. And so pretty much if you hit the entire thing, you will mount. And then you just want to spam B. And that will do a bunch of quick attacks, make a wound, and then you can press the right top bumper. And that will like do a finisher move on the wound, and you can like use the left stick to basically move around to try to get to the head or tail of the monster if you're trying to break the tail. And yeah, that's pretty much just what I did. I just blasted enemies with my little demon combo, hit wounds, and just kept going. It was a pretty fun campaign. I'm by no means like a super duper expert. I have played a whole bunch recently of Dual Blade on World, but like still learning quite a bit. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun, pretty easy. And hopefully this video helps you out a little bit. Probably gonna make some more Monster Hunter Wilds content. Not really sure exactly what we're gonna do in terms of guides, but I figure like a guide of kind of like what was working for me while I was leveling might help you out. We'll see you guys again soon, and don't forget, you're awesome.